Mark Stallard, and welcome to Little Green Man. I found an article actually came up on my CBC app on my phone, and it caught my attention. I thought it was something that I'd like to talk about. The title was "Getting Big Money Out of Politics: Fundraising Comes at a Price." Now, it got my attention, and it took me a minute. I mean, it took me quite a while actually to find it actually on my PC. So I ended up having to forward the article to myself off the app into my email, and I looked at it. They've actually changed the title of the article for the web, which is kind of odd. On my app has a different title. So the title that you'll probably find it for if you're looking on your computer on the CBC page is BC joins national trend to clean up political fundraising, and we're paying for it. That's an important bit there, separated with a hyphen, and we're paying for it. Now, what's really funny, this was written by Eric Grenier, he's quite a fairly prominent writer, so I understand it. A little digging up on him. Seems to be a reasonably successful writer as far as in certain journalism circles. The article itself that I'm going to talk about is actually quite well written. You should definitely link to it in the description. Go grab it, pop it up next to the video, read along. I'm not going to go too much into details of the article, but it's very well written, some good statistics in there, and I think the main premise of the article seems to be that taking big money out of politics is a bad idea, and that there is actually, by taking big money out, it's going to make it more expensive for you and me, normal, average people. But the truth of the matter is, it's a real bit of in that respect, it's a puff piece. It's got lots of interesting details in it, and I haven't gone away to confirm them, but that makes sense. I mean, there's nothing in here that's kind of jumping out as this looks like it might be biased in the facts department, that maybe he made them up. But I'm going to assume that they are correct, just because they actually disprove his points, which is kind of rather silly. So the whole point here is that BC, he's talking about BC is now introducing political contribution limits, banning unions and corporate donations, and asking taxpayers, this is what his words are, asking taxpayers to make up the difference, bringing the province in line with fundraising rules in most other jurisdictions in Canada. So taking money out of politics is, I think, big on everyone's mind, particularly as we've been watching the rather fun antics that are going on in US politics right now. I don't like to comment too much on US politics. I might be commenting on a video a little further down the road, but there are so many people doing it. I'm just going to be just another voice doing what everyone else is doing. So leaving that alone. Canadian politics, focus on provincial politics. And so when we're looking here is, most Canadians, again, we don't want what's happening in the US to happen here. We want Canada to be Canadian and not American plutocracies or plutocracy. An oligarchy, rich people and rich and powerful people in control, people with money in control. And that's what money in politics will lead to, where your vote, while will get the people elected, the message that you hear will be paid for by the people that have the money. So removing corporations and unions, who are some couple of relatively very powerful organisations with potentially a lot of money, could sway an election with a very strongly funded message, where you hear it all the time, you get saturated, you tend to believe it. Except it really doesn't really work all the time, as we found in the last general election with federal general election with Stephen Harper spending $750 million of taxpayers' money on attack ads against Justin Trudeau, rather than they've been in power for 3 terms. Run on your successors. Of course, they couldn't because they didn't have any. So they decided to crap on Justin Trudeau, and they lost quite significantly. They lost in a quite significant way. So money in politics can actually be detrimental to the people who are trying to manipulate people, particularly if they're using it to push a message other than that, which is a positive one. So the article actually talks about some really good points, that there are many provinces that have come on board with similar kinds of laws. So Quebec has banned union and corporate donations, to put a cap on contributions. Manitoba has done that as well, although the Progressive Conservatives, of course, try to raise the $3,000 limits to $5,000 just so that they can help corrupt the system a little bit more with people that have more money. If I'm lucky, I might be able to put $1,000 to a political party in the 4 years that leading up to the next election. But that's it. I mean, that's pushing it. So to say $5,000 a year now you're pushing me right out of it. So we'll be talking about this one, I'm sure, as the weeks and months go by as well, because this is rather awful. Nova Scotia has done it. Alberta, Ontario. The fundraising signals have been seen in Ontario, where the Liberals had to ban union and corporate donations that same year, and so on. Now there have been a few provinces that have not done it. There's only 4, but the country is kind of catching up, I think, with the public sentiment. People feel like I do on this one. Now, what all this leads up to is really it's talking about this is going to be really expensive for you, because lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and billions and millions and millions of dollars of money are poured into campaigns and into the running of political parties. Is that now that gap now needs to be filled, and so we have to fill that with, and it's your money. And now numbers that are getting thrown out are $2 million for one party, $5 million, $6 million for another party, and so on. And this all is going to reside on your shoulders as the taxpayer. And he's saying that we've got to adapt to survive. He's right. We have to adapt to survive. And we're saying that because of the fundraisers have been capped, then that's caused a problem for Liberals, who are only able to raise $24 million as opposed to the PCs and Canadian Alliance, $55.9 million that they raised they had raised between 2007 and 2009. Still didn't help them in the election, though, did it? So it's kind of a silly point to bring up, but still, points. You got to adapt. If you want to run a political campaign based on lots and lots of money, well, you're going to need lots of money. But if you put a cap on it, then at least the regular people are going to have a chance to have a say. And I think that what's really amusing is trying to scare you in this article, because it will cost just BC alone, the BC, the per vote subsidy will cost $16 million until they're phased out. We're going to be somewhere phasing them out once the political engines have figured out how to raise the money by themselves. $16 million a year, that's going to cost you, the taxpayer. Awful, 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 awful. Except, how much is that actually going to cost you in real terms? It will cost you $2.50. That's what it's going to cost you. When a political party gets over a certain percentage, I think it's about 5% of the vote, then they get, for every vote that they receive, they get $2.50, $2.50, awkward way of saying it. And so what that really means is that if you voted for a political party, your political party will get $2.50 of your money, not someone else's money. Your money will go to the political party you voted for, unless you voted for someone that got a party that got less than 5%. The chances are, though, your political party will get $2.50 of your money. It won't go to another party because you voted for that party. They'll get the $2.50. It is absolutely, I won't say it's fair, but it's certainly reasonable. And it's a way that political parties can raise money without compromising without compromising their integrity, without conflicts of interest coming up at all, because if you pay them and they do something for you, that's good. That's what democracy is supposed to be. If you pay them, when I say you, an average citizen or a group of citizens, you vote for them and they do something good for you. you're in their constituency, then those MPs, those members of legislators should be then looking after you as members of their constituency. Is how it's supposed to work, not benefiting rich people at all. So this whole thing, and that's really the point of the argument, is careful, $2.50 a year. That's all it's going to cost. So there's no real fear here at all that you're going to be bankrupt as a taxpayer. However, we can go back to my favourite beef is corporate taxes and taxes that rich people do not pay. Well, when they have big donations, they then are able to influence lawmakers to make laws so that they don't pay as much tax, so they can add in those loopholes, and that's a thank you for giving me that big donation. Here's a loophole for you. You can save money there. I'll pay you back this way. And that's a real danger. Definitely, absolutely what's happening in the US. We don't want to be there. So I think that's kind of about it. And I think I'll just end really with the last paragraph in this article. In more and more parts of the country, the result is that wealthy Canadians, unions and corporations are no longer bankrolling politics. Yes! Let's hope that continues. Ooh, yeah, feels good. But a fairer and more transparent democracy comes at a price. I think the reward of a fair and balanced democracy is a reward regardless of what it costs, $2.50. So one way or another, the taxpayers will foot the bill. Well, guess what? If you with big money in politics, the taxpayer will pay the bill for everything, including healthcare, including absolutely everything else. When they privatize the schools, when they privatize healthcare, because that's what Brian Pallister is trying to do here in Manitoba. Look at the US, look south. That's where we're headed if we don't get money out of politics. This is a great, excellent step forward. Not perfect, but so much better than where we were just a few years ago. Getting money out of politics. Go Canada. Yeah. Little green man.